it's a cheetah. I'm not sure whether it's one of the ones we normally see. It could be another one. This is the first time I've ever seen a cheetah on Arathusa. Oh, back to sleep. We will get a bit closer shortly. It stood up. It looked like he was about to start moving. And a very well done to Gladford and Lynn, who guessed a cheetah. Well done, guys. Now, this is the first time I've seen a cheetah on Arathusa, so isn't that exciting? And I heard a cheetah just snuck over the Chitwa airstrip out of the Chitwa Travis area this afternoon as well. So 2 cheetah sightings, and I heard from Harley, who's the guide at Chitwa, that it's definitely not one of the ones we normally see. It was much younger. So this is going to be fascinating to see whether this is a younger male as we're a bit closer, or even an older male, but I've heard it is a male, so it's not a female. So very, very, very interesting. Hi, Anna. Anna would like to know, are there many cheetah on the reserve? Anna, they're not. So even though the Greater Kruger has the largest meta-population of cheetah in Africa, what that means is the most different genetic variety within the animals. They don't occur in big numbers really. So the reason for that is the cheetah has a couple of very strange evolutionary adaptations that are probably going to, in the long term, end up with the cheetah becoming extinct without human beings' help. They've already hit a genetic bottleneck about 10,000 years ago, where they can trace genetically there were less than 100 cheetah left in the whole of Africa. Now, cheetah is the only big cat that needs a male dominant sex ratio for breeding. So in every other big cat, if you take lions, if you take leopards, tigers, you will always have more females than males, so males controlling an area with multiple females. Now, in cheetah, it's the opposite. So females have to be courted by at least 3 or 4 different sets of males before they choose to mate. It actually stimulates their ovulation. So, and their mating isn't very successful. It's not nearly as successful as the other cats, which makes cheetah a very, very interesting species. They've got a lot of very unique and strange evolutionary developments that they've made to have this incredible speed that they've got, but in doing so they have made themselves very, very vulnerable to other predators, and to extinction through disease, because if there were only 100 cheetah left in the whole of Africa, and all the cheetah from South Africa all the way to Kenya, all the way to the Sahara, all come from those same 100, there is almost zero genetic difference. What's that? Oh, it's just some dirt. Almost zero genetic difference in their makeup. Now, you can take a cheetah from the Masai Mara, and you can skin graft its skin onto a cheetah from the Kruger. That's how close they are genetically. So it is one of the biggest problems that faces cheetah, because they don't have that big genetic diversity such as lions and leopards. If a disease were to spring up, it's very unlikely that any of those individuals would have the genetic immunity to certain diseases, like if there was a case of feline distemper, feline HIV, and things like that. So it is a very sad story, but cheetah probably are going to go extinct in the next 10,000 years, with or without human intervention or harm. Now, the one thing is, with the cheetah, their numbers have actually increased because of human beings, particularly in countries like Namibia and Botswana. A cheetah are not considered a threat towards livestock, whereas in most of the other parts of Africa, in South Africa in particular, they are. So what's happened is the lions, hyenas, and leopards have been shot out, and the cheetah populations have increased. Now, to protect your goats and livestock from cheetah, there's a lot of interesting programs with Anatolian sheepdogs, and that is enough to keep a cheetah away, which wouldn't stop a lion or a leopard at all. I was wondering why we never see any female cheetah. Well, Lynn, they are around, but as I said, they're always going to be the sex structure is always going to be that there are far more males than females. So you will always see more male cheetah than female cheetah in an area like this. Now, I have seen one female cheetah in all my time in the northern Sabi Sands, and that was very briefly on foot, and I have never seen her again. So it was one of those very, very interesting things. Now I'm hoping, I have seen female cheetah tracks on cheetah plains before on the Kruger boundary. So there is always a possibility. That's the wonderful thing about being live from the African bush. You never know what you're going to see next. Now, if anyone else has got any more cheetah questions, remember the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or send me a question to questions@wildearth.tv. But it is very, very exciting to see a new cheetah. Vim, do you think this is a new one?
No idea.
No idea. So a lot of you have a lot of screenshots and have IDs. So I think this is possibly a different male to the two we normally see. So, but I could be wrong. So if you do know, remember hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or questions@wildearth.tv. Paul's asking if he's got a wound on his side. I think it's a bit of mud. Well, it could be a wound. Are we on full zoom there, Vimpy? It looks like it could be an old wound. But yes, it's a wound. Now, that could have been from... that looks like it could be from hunting. It could also be a wound from fighting. Now, male cheetahs have some of the most incredible fights, and I was lucky enough to be around in Botswana where the first ever male cheetah fight was caught on film. It was between two coalitions of 3 males, and it went on for nearly 9 hours, and there was such confusion during those fights that often they would accidentally whack one of their own coalition members. What's that butterfly dancing about him? It looks like a joker. There we go. So we're going to stay here a little bit longer. Hopefully this cheetah does get up and get moving. It is getting towards that crepuscular hour where cheetahs like to start hunting. So while we sit and wait patiently, let's go back to James, who's got something on the rover. I think James's geography is a bit off. We're definitely not on cheetah plains. We're on Arathusa airstrip. So, silly old James. But this is definitely not one of the males we normally see. And he does have that scar. And he does have that scar on his other side. We can't see it right now. And you can see he's had quite a nice meal recently. So not too hungry. Now, there are lots of people wanting to come into this sighting, of course. Cheetah is not something we see too often in this part of the world. Well, more often than other places, but not more than once or twice a week throughout the whole of the northern Sabi Sands. And we will be making space, but I will be on standby to come back in again. So I'm hoping he does get moving. He might go for a drink. Isn't he just exquisite? Now, I had a quick chat to Seeps, and he says he saw this cheetah for the first time about 2 weeks ago in a property where we don't traverse, and that with that scar on his left flank, on that cut on his left flank. So that's what we can identify him with for now. I don't think he's the youngest cheetah, looking at his ears. Maybe not too old. He is certainly very beautiful. Look at that. Hi, Denise. Denise would like to know if we've ever seen cheetah cubs. Not on Safari Live as far as I know, but I've been lucky enough to see quite a lot of cheetah cubs all over Africa. They are possibly one of the cutest things in the world. They're literally have the most incredible silvery almost back, and that's so their backs look like long grass and they're able to hide from potential predators. Now cheetah, for a solitary big cat, give birth to quite a large number of young, sometimes even up to 6, and they have a higher mortality rate than the other big cats. So, I mean, the other big cats have an average mortality rate of about 70%, and cheetah are sitting probably closer to 80%. So very few of those cubs survive. And wouldn't it be an absolute treat to get some cheetah cubs here on Safari Live? I would be absolutely ecstatic. I would bounce. I don't know if I could even contain myself in my seat. Now, you can see his ears flicking, and of course, the common problem that most animals have out here, you can see the buzzing stable flies. For those of you who don't know what stable flies are, they look very similar to a house fly, but they are vicious little blood. Oh, elephants, Fem. There's some nice eddies coming through as well, just behind the vehicles. Here we go, a lovely little breeding herd of elephants. Isn't that nice? Elephants and cheetah in the same sighting. Now, oh, did he hear something? Well, let's hope he doesn't go that direction. Oh, look at those eyes. Hi, Sunshine. Sunshine would like to know, do cheetahs climb trees? They do occasionally, but they're not nearly as adept climbers as leopards. There's something that's worrying this cheetah. He could have heard those ellies, but I don't think so, unless there's more ellies that I can't see at the moment. I'm not looking too perturbed. No, back down. Flop. And so Sunshine, yes, they do climb trees, and quite often what they will do is they'll defecate up on higher ground. So if you drive around the Kruger National Park, you'll always look carefully on the road signs. Cheetah like to defecate up high. It is a form of scent marking. Okay, guys. Now, the other thing, if we look at that's flicking, is his big tail. And a cheetah's tail is very, very different from a lion or a leopard's. And you can see it's quite a lot bigger and thicker, and it's actually used as a rudder to help him steer when he's going at high speed. And you oh, excuse me. And you can see they are very, very differently designed from lions, leopards, jaguars or tigers. See that very roundish head, very, very streamlined. Now, it doesn't have that long muzzle that a lot of the other cats have. Okay, guys, we're gonna have to leave quite shortly. Well, let me just find out. Ari, who's standby behind you? Copy, thanks. Richard, you can start making your way towards the Shikankang. So I don't think he's going to move just yet, so I'm going to let everyone else come in and have a chance, and then we will come back a little later. I wonder what he managed to catch. Possibly ate a whole steenbok. Oh, and you can see how his belly is actually extended. Okay, guys, the next vehicle is, I can actually hear him coming, so we're going to have to go, but we will be back a little later, and hopefully he hasn't moved out of our traverse zone. So while we sit, or while we go see what else we can find, Oh wait, let's just wait 1 second. There's some elephants coming straight towards us. Yeah. And there's also a young bull at the back of those elephants. And you can really see his body size right at the back. Well, I think these elephants might just sneak past without noticing. Oh, the cheetah's now noticed the elephants. It might, see how it's flattening itself a little bit. It might decide that discretion is the better part of valor. With elephants, it's generally a good idea. We saw how those elephants chased the Birmingham boys a few nights ago. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that incredible? Absolutely fantastic. I think the Ellies are just going to sneak past. Now, like with most animals, if that cheetah were to move, it would sort of prompt the elephants to investigate. So keeping still, as often in the African bush, is the best form of defense. So you always got to remember that old adage, whatever you do, don't run. Okay guys, we really do have to go now. I'll find out if we can come in a little bit later. Yes, we're lucky enough we're back with the cheetah, and it doesn't look like anyone else is interested. So it is getting to the perfect time of the day to be with the cheetah. Some of you might have heard me mention a little bit earlier, we're getting to the crepuscular hour. Now, I love that word, crepuscular. Now, crepuscular means most active at dusk and dawn, and that's when cheetah do the majority of their hunting, in sort of the hour before last light and the hour after first light. Although this cheetah is quite fat, so he might not be too keen on hunting, but he definitely might get up onto the move. There's a yawn. What I am hoping is we're very close to Buff Pan, so he definitely might get up and go for a drink, which would be wonderful in this absolutely gorgeous golden light we're experiencing at the moment. Now, Robin is wondering, how do you identify cheetah by their spot patterns? Oh, he's up. And he's got a proper belly. Yes, Robin, like any cat, they are completely unique looking. Okay, let's see where he's going. Robin, I think he's going to go have a drink. Oh, look at that backlit cheetah with a big belly. He might just flop down in the shade again, but I do think he's heading towards the pan. So yes, Robin, like any other of the spotted cats, he has a completely unique spot pattern, and you would need to look for any diagnostic spots. So on his rump, I saw that look quite unique. There's almost a rugby ball shape there. Those bigger dots seem to make a rugby ball. Well, let's get ahead of him. So as I said, I think he's heading for a drink. There he is, in the golden light. Isn't that just spectacular? Now, like all predators, cheetah don't like being spotted by impala. Now, the reason I've stopped where I have is just below in case there's a bit of water somewhere in that grass. You can see how much greener that grass is than the surrounding grass. No, cloud, don't take away our golden light. George says, fat-bellied cats make me chuckle every time I see them. Me too, George. They do look a little bit ridiculous, these perfectly designed killing machines with pot bellies. Looks like they spent too much time on the couch. Of course, with those incredibly fast metabolisms, those pot bellies disappear very quickly. Magic. Magic, magic, magic. Now, Jackie J would like to know, would a male cheetah survive if he lost his coalition partner? Well, not all male cheetahs have coalition partners. He might have been born to a family with 4 sisters, so he had no one to set out with, and then those cheetahs will generally be solitary and will try to avoid the areas that are controlled by bigger coalitions. Now you can see how nervous he is. Now they're right low down on the food chain when it comes to big predators or apex predators. So he wants to make sure there's no lions about, no hyenas about, no leopard about, no wild dog about. All of those are potentially massive threats to this cheetah. There we go, he's going to go drink. No, he might drink there. I thought he might move around to the side where it's a bit more open. See, very nervous. He's making sure that there's nothing else there that might attack him. Debbie in Vancouver would like to know, what are some of cheetah's favorite prey? Debbie, again, it's small to medium-sized antelope, from duiker, impala, steenbok, and in coalitions they can take adult wildebeest, they can take adult kudu, but it is unusual. And one must also remember that a lot of animal behavior is area specific rather than species specific, so depending on where you are in the world, the cheetah might hunt different things. Very nervous, doesn't like having his head down, and you would have noticed while cheetah are even sleeping, often their heads are up so they can see around them, see any potential threats that are coming. There we go, thirsty. This is just absolutely magical. We're here at the perfect time of the day. There is this exquisite golden light surrounding us, and we're with a cat I've never seen before, a new male cheetah for Safari Live. Preet would like to know, would cheetah ever get sick from drinking water from a dirty pan like that? No, Preet, you must realize that these animals drink filthy water, eat rotten meat, and you can't set the same normal sort of ideals that you would to a human being. So it is highly improbable that cheetah would get sick from water out here. It's full of elephant feces and buffalo feces, probably a bit of hippo feces, and but as long as there's no chemical pollutants, which there aren't, we're right out in the bush and this is all gathered rainwater, it's called a pan, the cheetah will be completely fine. Oh, isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Look at those reflections in the water. Absolutely stunning. Very nervous. Little few sips. And then up and worried that something might be around again. See, look at that. Yeah, well, let's see. We're going to stick with this cheetah, see what he gets up to next. But it sounds like Taylor has finally found Boris the Blade. Well, at least I know the cheetah's definitely not going to eat me. There's never been a recorded kill of a cheetah on man. Not to say they wouldn't take the opportunity if there was a small child wandering around. But an adult human being would be a bit too much for the cheetah. Now, of course, as you all know, and as James says, I love a good man-eating lion story. And I've read a few and followed a few over the years. I even looked for one for a couple of months in Tanzania. There we go. You can see those non-retractable claws sticking out quite clearly there. And he's got wet feet from his drink. I'm fascinated to see which direction he might go. Now, there is a strong possibility with that massive belly. He's not going to get going before dark. Now, remember, we've got very bright moon at the moment. So, on those very bright moonlit nights, cheetah will move during the night. Kelsey says, cheetahs breathe quite quickly, don't they? Well, Chelsea, it's due to the fact that he's got a fat belly, and the process of digestion causes heat. So he's basically just trying to expel excess heat that's caused by digestion. So if he didn't have a big fat belly, he wouldn't be breathing so heavily. Let's move around, see if we can. I've got a sunset cheetah silhouette almost if he stands up, hopefully. How's that for you? Gorgeous sky, gorgeous cat. And we're so lucky that no one else wants to be here, so we can just spend as much time as we want to. As I said, this is the right time of the day to be with a cheetah and to get some movement, hopefully. And I'm hoping he does get moving as that sun starts to dip a little lower. Quite exciting for me. My first cheetah on Arathusa. VM, your second. But as VM says, it was many moons ago when he last saw a cheetah on Arathusa. Cecilia is asking about king cheetah and do we get them in Djuma. Well, interestingly enough, Cecilia, one of the last king cheetahs seen in the wild was from about 10 kilometers from here. So there is a possibility that recessive gene still is held within the cheetah population of this area, but one hasn't been seen since the 70s. Now, the big problem with that is every time a king cheetah was seen, they were generally caught and moved and whatnot. So there is a possibility that a lot of that recessive gene has been removed from the cheetah population in this area. Now, it's an overstimulation of melanin. Melanin is what causes the dark spots. So basically, it's a recessive gene causing the body to increase melanin production. Come on, big boy, time to get moving. There's some impala and warthog down the other end of the strip. I know you're full, but you could always use another meal. Oh, that sun is disappearing incredibly quickly. So we're going to sit here, see if this cheetah does anything more. While we sit patiently, let's go to Taylor, who's about to head home from bushwalk. Up and started moving. It could be just that he's very thirsty, but I think he's on the move now. There we go. Now, like all big cats, cheetahs are opportunists, so even with a large belly like he's got, definitely if an impala happened to stray across his eye, he wouldn't say no to attempting. What are you doing? You might lose. I think he wants to scent mark the tree, but it's now got a bit wet. That's exactly what he wants to do. He wants to check if there's any other cheetahs that have scent marked this particular tree. Now, being quite obvious and out in the open, it's one that another cheetah would more than likely scent mark. Let's just see if he gets a Flehmen grimace. Oh, wait, there we go. Scent marking. That's why he needed such a long drink. Oh, excuse me. Okay, fatty, where to next? He's very, very relaxed, this boy. Doesn't seem concerned with us at all. Sometimes when you get new cheetah in from Kruger, it takes a little while to habituate them. So I think he might be coming from the south, from maybe Londolozi or Mala Mala, or even from the west. Now, Vim says the last time he saw a cheetah on the Arathusa airstrip, the next time he saw the same cheetah was on quarantine. And Vim's wondering if this is not the same guy who comes and does a once-a-year appearance and then will be on quarantine tomorrow. Look at this. Let's... Oh, where are you going to now? Changing your mind again? Our beard would like to know, is that all muscle in the shoulders? That's exactly what it is. I'm going to try get parallel to the cheetah now, hoping there's no hidden holes. We might get some... If any of the lapwings have a nest here, they might attack him. Come the lapwings around. Jet, 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 jet. Are any of them going to be brave enough to dive bomb? No. Not just yet. Joyce is wondering, does a cheetah scent mark also smell like popcorn, like a leopard? Unfortunately not, Joyce. Oh, there we go. Very upset lapwings. Oh, look at that. Lovely camera work for him. Well, they're not too perturbed. The cheetah has lain down again. Oh, it's just spotted some zebra. Just spotted some zebra. There's a baby there. Now that might be something he might consider if he was hungry. I'm not sure whether the risk would be worth it with that fat belly and the adults here. Now, Dolly's wondering whether a cheetah has ever jumped onto the hood of my vehicle. Now, in certain parts of East Africa, they do that, but I've had it happen to me while I was staying there, but I generally don't let animals do that, because what happens is, if you're on a vehicle and someone doesn't know what they're doing, they move too fast, something could go wrong, and in the end people end up blaming the animals when it's the animal's fault. So I've had leopards try climb onto my bonnet before and stuff, but before they do that, I will generally tap the side of the car or give them a stern talking to, because in the end I don't want those animals to be on the vehicle. I prefer them lying right where they are next to me. He's got such a fat belly, he didn't move very far. And, oh, the zebra's actually moving towards us now. The one with the baby in the front. Now, zebra can be quite formidable. So even though that baby is definitely a size that the cheetah might consider, the mom and the stallion can be incredibly violent. Now, I think what's happened is the zebra can hear the alarm calls of the lapwings and it's just coming to investigate, maybe. Yeah, they keep looking down here. They haven't spotted the cheetah yet. We'd hear them start snorting if they had. Could get interesting. You never know what's going to happen. I don't think with that full belly the cheetah will risk going after that baby zebra, but the one thing, as soon as you say something's a fact, the African bush is an expert at proving you wrong. Now they've come quite a bit closer, but watching the cheetah's body language, he hasn't really slotted into that stalk mode. He's just watching them. The lapwings are still alarming. Such exquisite creatures. There we go, you can see that wound again. Looks like it's healing quite well. It doesn't look too fresh, and more than likely a wound obtained while hunting. Not really paying attention to those zebras at the moment. And as I said, you never know. Anything can happen out here. As you can see, there's a brisk westerly breeze. Weather by zebra. Okay, well, we're going to see what pans out here. If there's any sign of potential action, we'll be right back. But in the meantime, let's go chat to James and our big cat expert, Tandy. Well, we don't know if it's nothing. The situation has just changed. Now, in this situation, there's some impala rams being a bit silly and chasing each other around. And they're probably now only about 60 meters. And they definitely haven't spotted him yet. Now, if they happen to come any closer, there's two to the left of him that are walking straight. Oh, they changed direction slightly. Those ones are actually getting much closer, cutting down the distance. Now, I'm hoping that even with that full belly, the temptation of some nice 2-year-old impala might be worth rising from that large belly. There we go. But at the moment, just tired and full, probably enjoying the cool. Peggy's wondering, when running after prey, do cheetah ever fall in holes? They do. They run into logs, stumps, holes. It can be a life-ending injury for a cheetah, but they are quite resilient. But it is possible. Dude, there's a whole bunch of impala behind you. No interest. I think they're almost going to have to step on him to get eaten tonight. Now, a lot of people think cheetah hunt during the middle of the day, but this is actually their preferred hunting time, the crepuscular hour, and it's that transfer from day to night that they are most successful in. Not to say they won't hunt in the middle of the day, they will. They'll hunt much later in the morning than the other animals, but it's this time of the day where they have the most success. And most of the cheetah kills I've seen, and I've probably seen start to finish lots, more than 30, have all been in this time of the day. So where I grew up in Botswana, we're very lucky to have a coalition of males that were incredibly successful hunters, that if we found them, and they used to spend a lot of time in a place we used to call White Plains in the evening, and they would, almost every second day, they would catch an impala or I've gone blank, or a lechwe. Alice in Ohio is wondering, do cheetah ever run just for the run or the fun of running? If there are more than them and they're playing, yes, they do. Occasionally you will see a single cheetah sort of play with itself, but it's not too common. Also, you must remember, running by yourself for the sake of running might draw attention to yourself, and that's not something a cheetah wants to do. But I have seen them. Coalitions will often play, and obviously females with their cubs. Now, the closest impala is 50 meters. But they've stopped chasing each other around. That could be because of the time of day. They know now it's time not to be silly, it's getting a little bit dark, and they could be under threat from a predator. who knows, that cheetah might just sit here and hunt by the light of the bright moon if the impala sort of stumble on them. Or what has he seen that side? Now, of course, as I said, they're very, very conscious of possible hyenas or anything. Let me just get my binoculars up quickly and have a look down towards the south of the airstrip, see if there's a hyena or a leopard or something that's caught its attention. MP, can you see anything? Oh wait, what's that? It is a stick. I can't... Wait, I see what he's seen. It's a jackal. Okay, there. A little bit to the right. There we go. That's what the cheetah spotted. The side stripe, yes, side stripe jackal. Now, if that side stripe happened to spot the cheetah, he would also send out the alarm. They've got a very strange little alarm call, a little yelp, but I don't think that jackal has seen the cheetah just yet. It's a bit too far. There he is. Impala still same distance away. Hassan would like to know, where do cheetahs sleep? Well, you're looking at it. Wherever they might stop for the evening. Oh my goodness, this cheetah is surrounded by impala. There's more on the other side of the airstrip. And all of them are still oblivious to its presence. The jackal's moved on. But what an exquisite treat to see a cheetah we've never seen before. Even if he is being a little lazy with a fat belly and not really paying attention, or he spotted the other impala behind him. So he's well aware of all the different creatures that are around him. Maybe he's got a new form of hunting strategy. Lie with a fat belly till something steps on you. Well, hasn't it been just magnificent sitting here with this incredible cat? VM and I have had a splendid time. We saw 2 spotted cats today. Well, we could barely see a spot of Shungile, but we got to see this gentleman out in all his glory. We can't wait to do it again tomorrow morning on the Sunrise Safari. So